Now, I'm just going to mention this for 1 minute because I brought this up in a conversation earlier. This is the next thing, okay? Because I just came back from New York City. I was at the 2-day conference, first ever conference on 3D printing. Okay, it's called Inside 3D. What is 3D printing? 3D printing is, you've got an idea, make it real. Okay, make it. Print it out on a printer. Okay, literally, prints. Okay, prints objects. So, if you bear with me, I will show you. I will show you because I have movies of it. Okay. Okay, here you go. Okay, so there it is. There's a printer with a spool of plastic that runs through the printer head. That's what that green line is. Hits the printer head, vaporizes, and sprayed out like ink onto the surface. And you build up layers. And the printer head moves up layers by layer. So, literally, so you see some objects here, little sculpture things, little tassel things. There was a guy playing a guitar that he had made on 3D printer. All right, it's a pretty cool guitar. It works. All right.
Mike, before you go on to 3D, can you answer one question? Some of Google's privacy stuff gets a little freaky, and I'm wondering how you, as an educator, are dealing with some of the privacy issues when so much of the student stuff is in the cloud. It's not protected.
Well, Google does have additional services that you can add to Google Education. So they have vaults, they have other levels, like to comply with all the laws.
Yeah.
Okay, they have other levels. The other thing is, in terms of COPA, and 13-year-olds, you know, in order to have permission of the parents. So it all has to be part of your whole school, you know, acceptable use, practice, and policies.
Okay, now when teachers are putting up work, and it's in the cloud.
And all of the content on your Google Apps for Education is owned by the school.
It's owned by the school, but it's still available to be viewed by Google.
Yes, because it's their environment, you could say that. Yes.
So, in terms of intellectual property for a teacher to create something new, does the teacher have to give up intellectual property rights? No. Who keeps those? The teacher?
No. Actually, no. You know, under the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, the school owns content created by the teacher under contract for the school. It's called work for hire.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, no, universities, they negotiate intellectual property rights with faculty. But really, if you're being hired by the school to develop lessons or curriculum, the school owns that content, you don't.
Okay, so my one other question would be, suppose, you know, you're one of these phenomenal people who's very gifted in creating work that ends up in the cloud. What would prevent, and especially if you're not doing it through Google Educator, what would prevent Google from all of a sudden using...
No, they can't do that because you own, you know, the creator of it really is the copyright holder, the school owns it, Google cannot take it, they don't own it. They usually, what they'll do is, and what my student does is, he negotiates with the copyright holder of of a pirated video or a song that's put up on YouTube. They don't take it down anymore automatically. They go to the copyright holder, they say, here's the deal, it's getting this many hits, you get this much, we get that much, can we keep it up? They say yeah, and they make money on it, and the holder makes money. So anyway, one last thing about this, 123D, Google that, it's a whole set of free apps. Apps for the iPad, apps for the Android, apps for the desktop to create objects in 3 dimensions. Sculpting, cutting, all kinds of cool stuff. 123D, it's free, it's from Autodesk. And it's great stuff. And here's where I want to end.
But
so
you
here's
have to have a special printer for that.
Oh yeah, well no, see that's the other thing. In order to print this, if you don't have the printer, there's like dozens of websites now. Go to Thingiverse. 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 Thingiverse.com. And you can buy things that people have designed. You can upload your designs and have them printed and sent to you. You can upload your designs and sell them. It's a whole marketplace of 3D makers.
We have kids designing things in our Fab Lab.
Yeah, well, you got a Fab
They sell
Lab.
them.
Yeah, I was going to add Fab Lab to this. I didn't have time. So here's where this goes. Okay, here's what I think, all right? In addition to what I just said. This is what else I think. I think we need a whole new paradigm for understanding all of these things. It's not enough to say, oh, integrate technology with education. Oh, this is educational technology. That's all 20th century concepts. Okay? That assumes there's a separation between the technology and learning already. It's a time when technology was not ubiquitous. We didn't have supercomputers in everybody's pockets. Well, now we do. Okay? And we do, literally. And I've seen it in the third world. And if we don't have it here in the inner city, we will have it soon, and if not already. Okay? And I'm working with urban populations as well. We need a paradigm shift in terms of the teaching and learning model, and this is one of them. Okay? This is by the MacArthur Foundation people, the digital media learning project that they're doing, and they've come up with this idea of connected learning. And this was created by some people like Howard Rheingold and Mitch Resnick at MIT and the Project Zero at Harvard and Howard Gardner, and all these people together coming up with this paradigm of connected learning. Okay, connected learning. And what is one component of it? Openly networked. You're always connected to the learning materials. And no matter where you are, you can access that material. And think about what we've just gone through with all these different environments. It's peer culture, okay? That idea of crowdsourcing. Well, here it's peer culture. It has something to do with the content you're teaching. It's production-centered. Kids are making stuff. Kids are producing it. That's why the digital toolbox that Google offers is so important. They have to have the tools, contemporary tools to make stuff with. From 3D printing on the highest level to websites, what I consider the most basic level, okay? And blogs. It has to be student interest driven. It has to be relevant. And this is where, Gates Foundation has done a lot of work and said, the 3 R's are relevance, rigor, and relationships. Okay, so the relationships piece here is, it doesn't mean the end of the school or the classroom. Because it's still, the best teaching occurs in the context of relationships. Good teachers interacting with their students, students interacting with each other. And yes, sometimes that's going to be online, and sometimes it's going to be face-to-face in different forms and different shapes. It might be in a community center, it might be in a church, it might be in a synagogue, it might be in the school building, it might be in the back seat of the car. Right? Think about it. Shared purpose, right? There's some social community context for what you're doing. Right? And of course it's academic, right? It's not about just nothing. There's an academic context to this. And some of the Common Core and the new, if you haven't seen the Next Generation Science Standards, they just came out last week, has elements of this in it. If you haven't seen the Next Generation Science Standards,
This Thursday we're
yeah, they just came out. There's some real good context for doing this sort of thing with those standards. It's deeper learning, using digital tools. It integrates engineering design across all the context of science, right? And so this is, I think, to me, right now, this is the best model I've seen. And at Rashi, this is the model we took and said, okay, we're not going to just build an online environment. We're not going to buy iPads for everybody. This fall, they are going to a bring your own device for 5th through 8th graders, but it's in the context of connected learning. So what we're doing is all around this issue of connected learning, right? And so, my last pitch for me, you can follow me at MMInnovator on Twitter. What I do with Twitter, I use Twitter as an aggregator. So it's not like here I am doing this or I'm eating that. It's really like I have this great, like all the reports I've cited, all the books I've cited, everything I've cited is in my Twitter feed. Okay, on my website, all the books I've cited are here. If you want to just go to my website, michaelmino.com or mmmoodle.com, you can just click through the books on the carousel. And you can just go right to Amazon to pick one up. Makers, if you're really interested in the 3D printing, Makers, the new industrial revolution. Okay, it's a phenomenal book. This is my Twitter feed over here. I don't know if you've seen Twila. Twila takes your Twitter feeds, puts them into this beautiful graphic layout. Gives you the graphics, assembles them on a page. So you can go to tweets.michaelmino.com and see all my Twitter feeds organized by subject matter.
What was that name?
Twila. Yeah, Twila. It's a really great, third-party app. But I got my playlist on here. I've got my blog, and there's a really great blended learning infographic. If you haven't seen it, perfect. It does a really good job of giving you context and models with blended learning. And this is a learning management system. This is a Moodle site. So I do develop and host Moodle environments with clients that I work with. I do professional development with teachers. And this summer, at one school, we're calling it a blended boot camp. It's a 3-day program teaching about the basics of blended learning, kind of like opening with this presentation and then actually breaking into groups and working in these environments, like creating content. So blended boot camp. It's not open to the public, but if you're interested in doing one at your school, contact me at mm@michaelmino.com is my email address, mm@michaelmino. So
Twila, T-W-E-E-L-A?
T-W-Y-L-A-H.
Oh. I'm sure I would have figured that out.
I'll show you what it looks like.
T-W-Y-L-A-H, because if you put in T-W-E-E-L-A, you get some sort of stylist.
Okay, so here's my tweet, T-W-Y-L-A-H. This is my tweets page. Okay, this is my Twitter feed, believe it or not. See, look at it. This is my Twitter feed, reassembled by subject with these beautiful graphics. And these are so when I tweet now, I usually use a keyword, and then it automatically goes into the category. So if it's an infographic, I put infographic, it goes into infographic. It's about kids, it's about apps, it's about educators, right? And this
Is
is
that hashtag?
no, without a hashtag.
Does it go just categories to one?
It just goes, yeah, it must go in the, oh yes, it counts as the words, yeah, yeah. So it's context related. But this, so here's an example. This is, one of my arguments about the ed tech thing. Twitter's not an ed tech tool, right? Well, but like this it is, yes. But that's the point. It's not, it's just another tool, another technology, social media that we have at our disposal. And yes, we can use it for education when you use it like this. So think about this in terms of your own subject matter. You could be tweeting on resources in your subject matter. And it's a resource aggregator. That's how I like to use it. Okay? And it took me a few years to get the hang of this, like to think, like, what am I going to do with it? And then I said, well, I'm constantly sending people emails with these resources. I'm just going to start tweeting these, and people can go to my Twitter feed and get them if they're interested. And it works really well for that, right?
Now, if I want to, I go to that website if I want to see all of this stuff organized.
You can go to Twitter and find me in Twitter at MMInnovator,
Yeah.
right? You find my Twitter
Can
page.
I get it
But
to look like that?
no, not at Twitter. This is not Twitter's. This is here at Twila. And we'll organize it into this. So it's tweets.michaelmino.com, and you'll find it like this. All right? So thanks a lot, people. Really appreciate your attention.